Personality is impermanent. I think this is a wonderful name for a book because, speaking from personal experience, I am not the same person that I was yesterday or a week ago or a year ago or 2 years ago. I think I am growing as a person every single day, and with that, my personality changes. I mean, me personally, if I were to talk to me from freshman year of college, I bet we would really disagree on some things. And although I'm still the same person, my personality is always growing, and so is everyone's. And I've known people who have changed for the better or for the worse. But whatever it is, our personality is always changing. So I don't think it's permanent, and I think it's a great name for a book. So the book Personality is Permanent, I think I am a professional on because I had to read this book for Mr. G's class. And today I'm going to be talking about Chapter 2, The Truth of Personality. So the author starts off by telling a story. In every single chapter, he tells different stories, but this one specifically really called to me because it's not a happy story, which I feel puts things more into perspective of how intense personality is always changing, and here's why. So the story starts off by telling us about a boy named Andre who started playing the trumpet in 6th grade. And he says he didn't really like it at first, but he became really good at it really quickly. And he had a teacher who really believed in him and would always encourage him to go further with his music career and believe that he was going to be somebody big someday and that he could do whatever he wanted as long as he had his trumpet. And he talks about how for a while there, even playing the trumpet consumed his personality, like it was a part of him, which I know we talked about in our public speaking class about how sometimes when you can stereotype yourself when you do something so often, you put yourself in a box and you are a part of that box. Like in high school, it could have been the theater kid or the music kid or the athlete, whatever it was for you or for me. Just sometimes we put ourselves in that box. And once we leave high school, hopefully you don't do that anymore, but sometimes you still do. But he says the only thing holding him back from loving music as much as he did was that he wanted to be a cool kid. More than anything in the world, he wanted to be a cool kid. And he had these friends who were cool, but they were really just the troublemakers of his grade. And he hung out with them, and he started getting into a lot of trouble at school. He quit playing the trumpet altogether, and he just would get in trouble constantly at school. And the second he turned 18, he ended up in jail for, I think, robbery. But once he was in prison, he said he learned very quickly that there's a hierarchy. There's one guy and he's at the top and he's the king. Like everybody respects him and listens to him. And the second he got to prison, he wanted to be that guy. He wanted to be in that position. So he did all these crazy things trying to get him up to that position. And he started by attempting to kill 8 men. And he only injured all of them and nobody died, but that ended him up in solitary confinement. And when he was in solitary, he says nothing changed for him until one day, after about 2 years of being in solitary, he was outside and one of his fellow gang members was talking to him about how one of their other members had been killed at a different prison. And he knew that the guys who killed him were white, so he says that he had such tunnel vision on the fact that the guys who killed his friend were white, that he wanted to kill all the white guys in solitary confinement with him. And so this quote from the book says, Andre's black and white thinking is reflective of traditional and common views of personality. We see people as types, we categorize them, and we ignore nuance and context, which is just so specific to this situation. Like, he completely ignored the context that the men who he was in confinement with had nothing to do with the ones who killed his friend, but he just categorized them together because of his quite literal black and white thinking. But he says while he was planning out how he was going to kill all these guys, he said it just hit him like a truck, what he was actually about to do. And this quote from the book says, "God gave me my Wizard of Oz moment that day. At the end of Wizard of Oz, Dorothy realizes there is no Wizard of Oz. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all a hoax. Before that moment, he thought he was going to become the king of the world. Now he realized he was going to become the king of nowhere. This is nothing." So this really poses the question throughout the rest of the chapter: what is the end of your yellow brick road? Where is your life going? And what wall is your ladder facing? And where will you be when you get to the top? Which I took very meaningfully, because it made me realize that whatever I do in life, good or bad, has a purpose and it has an end goal. After that, Andre set a goal for himself, and he had 8 years left in his sentence, and he said he wanted to become a good person and smart. And he said, where do good, smart people come from? They go to college. And so he had grown up in Boston, and he only knew of one college, which was Harvard. And he set his mind for 8 years on the fact that he was going to go to Harvard. And he did it. He went to Harvard, and he graduated, and now he works at Harvard, and he's a world-famous public speaker telling his story, which I think is so inspiring, because at no point did I think this story was going to have a happy ending at all. But it really, overall, the take I got from the chapter is, whether you realize it or not, everything has a purpose. Everything has a goal. Everything I'm trying to achieve right now, or what I ate for lunch, has a goal. Did you eat this meal to be healthy and to better yourself, or did you eat this meal just to fuel yourself for the day? Whatever it may be, everything has a goal. Thank you.